Hello, friends. I'm thrilled to welcome you to my channel. Before we dive into the story, I'd like to kindly ask you to like and subscribe. It might seem like a small gesture to you, but it means the world to me. My name is Brian Rector, and when this tale begins, I'd been married to my wife, Melissa Rector Zachary, for 23 years. We had three children, two sons, aged 21 and 19, and a brilliant 17-year-old daughter who had just started her freshman year at Stanford. They were all grown, or nearly so. This story explores the contrast between soft and hard bodies, both in a physical sense and a metaphorical one. About 12 years ago, I noticed I'd put on some weight during the early years of our marriage. Determined to shed the extra pounds and boost my health, I took action. For the past 11 years, I've kept my weight just 1 or 2 kilograms above what it was when I played football at a Division III school, around 110 kilos. Despite my sedentary job, I achieved this through a disciplined routine. 2 hours of exercise 5 days a week and strict control over my sugar intake. Little did I know, these changes, meant to improve my life, would set off a chain of catastrophic events in my marriage. Melissa didn't take kindly to my new diet and healthier lifestyle. At first, she was furious, interpreting my commitment to fitness as a silent judgment of her. "Don't you like me the way I am?" she'd ask, her voice sharp with insecurity. It baffled me. I never once suggested she change. In fact, I made a point to tell her weekly how beautiful she was. But my improved physique only deepened her unease. Over time, I realized she'd built an irrational narrative. The healthier I got, the more inadequate she felt. That insecurity eventually drove her into an affair. What gnawed at her even more was comparing herself to our three mutual friends, Katie, Bernice, and Nicole. All a year or two older than Melissa, they were in fantastic shape, not out of vanity, but as a natural part of who they were. Strong, healthy, and attractive. Katie and Bernice enjoyed happy marriages. But Nicole had caught her husband cheating 2 years earlier and divorced him so fast he must have felt like a train had hit him. During Nicole's divorce, I stepped in to help. I connected her with one of Minneapolis's top divorce lawyers, lent her $20,000 to keep her business afloat when her finances faltered, and even assisted with her move to a smaller house. She repaid the loan in 18 months, no interest asked. I offered to testify for her if the case went to trial, though it never did. My support was genuine. I felt for her, and I expressed it openly, even in front of Melissa during a few lunch meetings. But Melissa? She was livid about the help I gave Nicole, despite their friendship. Since Nicole's divorce, Melissa's behavior had shifted, nothing drastic, just odd. Our life stayed fairly routine, no more or less satisfying than before. For the 17 years since our daughter's birth, I'd always been the one more interested in physical intimacy. Then came the day I discovered Melissa's affair. In a way so cliche, it's almost embarrassing that I was on a business trip, driving 250 kilometers home instead of flying or taking a train. The weather was icy, with snow falling, and I worried about the journey. Before leaving the meeting, I checked road conditions and saw a traffic jam brewing on the interstate as snow piled up. I called Melissa to say I'd be home in at least 4 hours, maybe more, so she wouldn't wait up with dinner. She sounded distracted, but told me to be careful and take my time. After tipping the valet and retrieving my car, he suggested a detour, Highway 29 to Highway 16 west, then rejoining the interstate after exit 86. A massive jam stretched from exit 133 to 86, he said, and this route could save me an hour or two. I took his advice and got home much faster than expected. The snow stopped as I cruised along Highway 29, and with clear roads, I hit 120 kilometers per hour, arriving an hour and a half earlier than planned. Pulling up, I spotted a car in our driveway, one I didn't immediately recognize until it clicked. It wasn't a stranger's. Our property's layout hid the driveway from the street, perfect for discreet parking. The car belonged to Fred Thompson, head librarian at the municipal library where Melissa volunteered. I despised Fred, a flabby, hypocritical, toad-like man in his 40s. I couldn't fathom what Melissa saw in him, especially sexually, yet his presence in our house while I was away suggested exactly that I parked across the street in the driveway of a house for sale, out of sight, and approached our home. It's an old, grand place, practically a mini mansion by today's standards. I never loved it, but Melissa adored it. With the kids gone, it felt too big for just us, and it constantly needed repairs. We'd recently repainted the wooden floors, but the long main staircase still needed new carpets. The second floor ceilings soared 4 meters high. There was a back entrance and a less glamorous rear staircase, which I used, slipping off my shoes to creep silently upstairs. Near the guest bedroom, I heard Melissa and Fred talking, their words mostly muffled. But I caught Melissa say, "The king of training will be here in about an hour and a half, so I'll have time to clean up." I assumed she meant me, though I'd never called myself that. Her tone dripped with disdain, as if my fitness obsession was foolish. An idea struck. If the hallway and stairs were dark, descending the main staircase could be treacherous. I darted down the back stairs to the utility room, flipped off the main power switches, and plunged the house into blackness. Using my flashlight, I climbed back up, turned it off at the top, and crawled to the edge of the main staircase. The darkness was total. I couldn't see my own hand. Melissa and Fred were rattled. "Be careful on those steep stairs, Fred," she warned. "I'll do that," he grumbled, inching toward the staircase. When his shoe brushed my palm, I yanked his leg forward. His screams echoed as he tumbled. Horrific cries on the first two impacts, then just the sickening thud of his body hitting steps, followed by silence. Melissa's panicked shrieks filled the air as she cautiously descended. I seized the moment, crawling back to the rear door with my flashlight, slipped on my shoes, wiped the switch handles and back door clean of prints, and restored the power. Then I slipped out to my car that I drove a winding 3-kilometer route to a Starbucks, parked on a side street for an hour, and entered the lot as if I'd come straight from the interstate. Inside, I ordered 2 double chocolate brownies, one for me, one supposedly for Melissa, ensuring a time-stamped receipt. Back home, Melissa was gone, but dark red spots stained the stair's base, with smaller splashes up the wall. I smirked, climbed carefully to avoid the blood, and found the guest room's sheets unchanged, proof of her panic. I rolled them up, stuffed them in a plastic bag, and stashed it in the utility room. The Starbucks bag went on the kitchen table. Then I called Melissa. She answered on the 4th ring, voice wary. "Where are you, Melissa? What's with the red spots on the stairs?" "It's a disaster zone," I demanded. "Oh, well," she stammered. "Where are you?" I pressed. "I'm at Memorial Hospital," she admitted hesitantly. "Fred Thompson, you know, the librarian, we were talking, and he fell down the stairs." She sounded distraught. "What the hell was he doing on our 2nd floor?" I shouted. She faltered. "What'll I find upstairs?" "No reason to go up. I'll be home soon," she said, panic rising. "Too late." I replied coldly, hanging up that I packed clothes and essentials, grabbed the bloody sheets and Starbucks bag, and drove to a hotel. Melissa called later, desperate. "Brian, where are you?" "At a hotel, meeting someone," I said flatly. Ending the call after a prior spat with a divorce lawyer left me frustrated. From the hotel phone, I called Nicole's recommended lawyer, a close friend. After small talk, I arranged to meet her the next afternoon to discuss her services. She was surprised but agreed. The next day, while working, two police officers arrived. "Mr. Rector, we're investigating the incident that left Mr. Thompson with a concussion, lacerations, and broken bones at your home. He's still in the hospital." I shrugged. "I thought it was an accident." "Maybe," one said, "but he thinks someone grabbed his leg." The lights went out mysteriously, then came back. No outages reported. Feigning surprise, I explained. An hour and a half before I called Melissa, I was driving back from a 250-kilometer meeting. Hit a traffic jam. Left at 4:30 p.m., stopped at Starbucks on Maple Street around 8:30 to 8:45 for brownies. Then got home to find blood everywhere. They asked for proof. I've got a parking ticket with timestamps in my office and the Starbucks receipt at the hotel, plus a brownie. Check the traffic with state police. I gave them my valet ticket photocopy. I showed them the receipt at the hotel, suggested security cameras, and handed over my lawyer's card. "That's all you get. Talk to her if you need more." They left, and I haven't heard back. The marriage ended swiftly. My lawyer got a court order for Melissa and Fred's DNA, found on the guest room sheets, irrefutable evidence for the divorce. Friends and relatives offered condolences. I feigned sadness or mild joy, depending on who called. Nicole, who'd recommended the lawyer, seemed genuinely happy. 2 weeks post-divorce, I left Minneapolis for a road trip across the western U.S., mulling over the betrayal and my revenge on Melissa and Fred. Reconciliation, anger, and regret flickered through my mind, but I needed a clear head. Unlike most 45-year-olds married for 23 years, I had no financial woes. I'd built a company making unique vertical axis wind turbines I co-invented. After Melissa's infidelity